We'll be getting the view of a Chelsea stalwart in a few minutes' time. Let me just read you the statement that Chelsea have put out in the last little while. Terry Gibson is, as I say, he's here and he's very welcome. We can see each other, which is good. Chelsea FC has announced that Graham Potter has departed the club. Graeme has agreed to collaborate with the club to facilitate a smooth transition in his time with the club. Graeme has taken us to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, where we'll face Real Madrid. Chelsea would like to thank Graeme for all his efforts and contribution and wish him the best for the future. Then it goes on to say that Bruno Salter will take charge of the team as interim head coach. Co-controlling owners Todd Bowley and Bayad Egboli said, on behalf of everyone at the club, we wish to thank Graeme sincerely for his contribution to Chelsea. We have the highest degree of respect for Graeme as a coach and as a person. He was always conducted himself with professionalism and integrity. We're all disappointed in this outcome as the third Chelsea coach in about 3 days says goodbye. Brendan Rodgers, of course, was the coach at Chelsea, Antonio Conte, and now Graham Potter. Let's get a view right from the heart of the Stamford Bridge Empire. Jason Cundy, of course, very much of this station, joins us now. Hi, Jason.
Good evening, Danny. Good evening, Joe.
I suppose not a huge surprise. What about the timing? And, well, what is it? You know, the third manager in a season. It's another season at Chelsea.
Yes, there's been, in the last calendar year, there has been so much upheaval at the club. Of course, when Putin marched into Ukraine, that changed the course of Chelsea's history. We all know what happened with Roman. The club had to be sold very quickly. It went through. The transfer window had to be dealt with by people that had come in and had navigated his way through to Champions League football by getting top four. And then you look at what happened subsequently. You know, some of the purchases. He's allowed to leave his post, and then Potter comes in, and there's so much that's happened at this club in the last 12 months. It's unbelievable what's happened. This is another chapter. It's not the biggest surprise, Dan. I was doing Chelsea TV yesterday. When I saw the team, and I saw we couldn't work out whether it was going to be a back three or back four. He's gone to a back three
with two fullbacks in it.
Yeah, so you see, I cut him some slack when Reece James and Ben Chilwell were injured. I did cut him some slack because they're the two of the best wing backs in the country. But he couldn't work out whether he wanted a 4 or a 3. Eventually, he went to a 3. And I've been saying this for quite a while. Play your best players in the best positions, in the best formation to get the best results. He's got two fullbacks playing centre-half yesterday. Reece James' best position is right wing back. He's one of the best in the business. He's got Loftus-Cheek doing that job. He's got Badiashile and Chalobah on the bench. And that was a baffling decision. When the result doesn't go your way, you look at the bench, you got to say that I think he was befuddled. I don't know what was going on. I think the Champions League was on his mind. I think he was, because Badiashile can't play in the Champions League.
No.
I don't know this. I'm guessing he's not in the Champions League squad. I think he was looking to find an answer for that left-hand side. And he couldn't see the wood through the trees. And it's the right decision. You know, we knew how this was going to end. It was just a question of when. But yesterday's result, I'm afraid, and his team selection, and some of his substitutions against Everton, you know, you can look back and you can see the holes.
Who do you want next, Jason? There was everybody linked to the Spurs job, and now all of a sudden everyone's looking at probably the same group of managers: Nagelsmann, Pochettino, Luis Enrique. Maybe an outside shout, Diego Simeone, if he's interested in a job like Chelsea. Who would be your preferred option?
Well, I think when you look at what Bowley has tried to come in and do, and people say he doesn't know what he's doing. He does know what he's doing. He just hasn't quite got it right, but he knows where he wants to be. He wants a young, innovative manager, and he wanted someone to move the club in a different direction. Look, everything works well in football until results don't go your way, and that's when the wheels fall off. Nagelsmann, I think, has changed the landscape. I think the fact that he's available, for me personally, I mean, you look what he's doing. You guys talk about this on the Trans-Euro Express. Nagelsmann was second in the league, into the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and still in the domestic cup, and he got sacked. And he's available now, and I think that might well have been that might well have been the catalyst for this decision. They might have done it anyway, but when there's others, you mentioned Luis Enrique. I don't think Diego Simeone. I'm not sure. From what I know, he doesn't speak English, or his English isn't particularly great.
Limited.
Yeah. So even though I think he's very much a Chelsea type of manager, I would say right now it feels like they may be looking in Nagelsmann's direction, but who knows when.
I mean, you're absolutely right that that was it seems the timing to me seems it's too much of a coincidence that he suddenly becomes available. Clubs are starting to pick the phone up to his agent. And if Chelsea were to move fast, if he was to accept the job quickly, Chelsea would be getting a manager, Jason, who has won every single Champions League game he's played this season, just about. They've won all their group games, haven't they?
That's right. And of course, that game on the 12th in a couple of weeks' time. That game now, I mean, it's all we've got to fight for. We're not going to get relegated. We're not going to get European football. So we are that mid-table mediocrity. And we saw yesterday how tactically that the game was changed at half-time by Unai Emery. He went to a 5 at the back. And Potter didn't know how to deal with that. They nullified every attack that Chelsea got. These are the little nuances in games that you look at and go, he's made that decision. He's gone from a 4 to a 5. He's taken off, I can't remember who it was that got booked. He's taken him off, brought another defender on, brought Chambers on, and all of a sudden the game was in Villa's grasp. He couldn't wrestle it away. He didn't know how to remember. He didn't know how to wrestle it away from him. Then you look at
Jason,
someone who has that. Go on, mate.
Go on, no, just to say, we talked about Todd Bowley, we talk about Graham Potter. Do Chelsea's expensively assembled group of players take any responsibility here? Because we all know they're better players than they look at the moment.
Do you know what, right? So, Terry, I'll ask Terry this question. I have never known a player, and I don't know players, that have deliberately gone out and not performed, right?
No.
You've got to believe in what the manager tells you. You've seen it happen to Erik ten Hag, right? You tell me, who's a better manager, Erik ten Hag or Ralf Rangnick?
Well, Erik ten Hag is.
Right? Okay. And you're seeing that. And you could say, did the Man United players down tools? No. What they did, they went to training every day. They believed tactically what he was doing. They believed in the teammates that they were being bit. They believed in the shape. They understood what he wanted from them. He got his message across. Players don't... I saw this with Jose Mourinho. People were saying that Eden Hazard in 15 down tools. 12 months later, Chelsea are Premier League champions. Why? Because they had a manager that they believed in. They were listening. Okay, I know that's not what you want to hear, Danny, but that's what he got that message across. And of course, managers come and go. But yeah, the players all have to look at themselves. Of course, they have some responsibility. But ultimately, if the manager takes the plaudits, and they do, you've got to, at the time when the results aren't going your way and performances are poor, you've got to look at the manager. That's the one you change. And honestly, this squad, I'll ask you two, is this squad better at Chelsea than the 11th in the league?
Oh, of course they are. I think
it's ridiculous.
I agree totally with you, Jason, about players don't down tools. They don't try to lose games and try to get the manager to the sack. I always feel there's a process in the unravelling of a manager just prior to getting the sack, and that's when players don't see clarity. The tactics are changing from week to week because the manager's under pressure. You're talking about the tactics yesterday or the choice of players in those positions. Yeah. I kind of get the fullbacks. If you're a big enough size and you're quick and you're playing in the back three and you want your wing backs to push on, I kind of get it if you're an athletic fullback that can play centre-back because you're not frightened about getting dragged out into the full-back positions as opposed to a big, strong centre-half. But when you're under pressure, sometimes it's best to keep it as simple as possible, to keep it basic, and the players then have more idea of what they are trying to follow.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you'll agree with me on that.
Absolutely. He's playing players out of... Ruben Loftus... I've seen Ruben play right wing-back, right? I've seen him do it, and actually he can do it. Who's a better right wing-back? Ruben or Reece James, right? We both know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Why is Chalobah? Apparently Chalobah was training last week in a back three. He didn't play. Badiashile, I don't know what he's done wrong not to be on in the team. You got Cucurella. Cucurella is not a left-hand side centre-half. The game against Villa away, anyone that saw that game, Villa should have beaten us. Villa are the better side. He's getting dragged into all sorts of areas. He cuts across his centre-half, doesn't understand the position, and of course the first goal, he heads it over, and Watkins finishes. There are these little things, I'm like, they're baffling. And everyone I spoke to the guys who were doing Chelsea, couldn't understand it. Unless he wins this game, if you win the game, then you say fair enough, but yeah, we got beat.
Yeah. They were nowhere near winning the game, although they had an awful lot of shots on goal. People were telling me that. Listen, Jason, thank you very much indeed. I know you'll be getting your I dare say you'll be talking about this for the next 48 hours, so good luck with the throat sweets and everything. Jason, this happened to me after the Conte thing. I spoke for 48 hours solid on various platforms.